Okay, so I promised that we would do some videos. These aren't hyper speed, so I'm actually standing in front of you doing this in real time, and I'm going to try to talk, which is not great because I have a tendency to get real stumbly and bumbly and say really dumb stuff. So here we go. Today we're doing an anniversary arrangement for a super fun lady. These are garden roses from our friends in Colombia at Gardens America. These are called Loves Me Just a Little Bit, and they're a fantastic kind of a dark pink on the outside and a peachy pink on the inside, and I have no idea what they're going to look like when they open up, so I hope Miss Friend will send us pictures of what they look like once they're open. But so those are the flowers we're doing for this arrangement. I grabbed a whole bunch of different greenery out of the cooler because you don't have my cooler and you probably have stuff in your front yard. So go grab things out of your front yard. But what I'm working with here, we have leatherleaf or baker fern, which is super traditional. Everybody knows what that is. This is called Pittosporum. It grows here, but we order this in from Florida. It is, sometimes it's variegated, so it has little yellow and white tips to it, and sometimes it's just green. This is the just green kind. We have lily grass, because lily grass is always fun to play with. These are aspidistra leaves, and they're fun to curl and fold and bend and do swirly swoopies with. And this is one of my favorite greeneries. This is called Weeping Podocarpus. This is a new growth one, so it's got little brand new baby bits on the ends, so we'll just pick those off. Hey look, the phone's ringing because real time. Oh, and my trash. I always design into a stem bucket instead of, some people just design with their trash on the floor, but that hurts my soul. And sometimes I design into a trash can, but lately I design into a bucket on the floor. So no, I mean the trash goes in the bucket, the design goes in the vase. Funny, right? I'm telling you, you guys are just gonna have to bear with me, but it's better than, you know, watching Little Baby Bum for the 732nd time. So, and this is ruscus. There's a couple of different kinds of ruscus. Italian ruscus is the really long one that has little oval-shaped leaves that pop off on little individual breaks on the sides. This is Israeli ruscus, and I like it because it's just a nice bright springy green with a solid stem to it. So those are the things that we're working with for this vase. This is a pink, sort of a hobnail vase. It's a little traditional, but I thought it would be really pretty with these Loves Me Just a Little Bit roses. So I'm gonna start with some leather leaf. Yes, it does hurt my soul just a little bit to break all the pieces off of the leather leaf, but when you're designing, sometimes you really have to do that, or else your arrangement isn't going to be where you want it to be. If you do pick up leather leaf from somewhere, or if you're using ferns out of your yard, ferns have a tendency to have hairy stems, and if you don't clean the hair off of your stems, then you end up with hairy water, and hairy water makes your flowers die real fast. So don't do that. Clean your stems. Pittosporum has dirty stems, so we're going to use one of these handy dandy rags that also gets used for lily pollen and fountain pen ink to clean our stems with. Alright, so again, this is the Pittosporum. You'll notice I've got 2 tools that I'm working with. Well, 3, I guess, if you want to include the Lazy Susan. I use a hawkbill knife. There we go. Okay. This is a friend of mine had this custom made for me. I really love it. It has a rosewood handle and a really fancy kind of metal that I don't remember. And I'm not allowed to use a knife sharpening block on it because I can make a knife round in no time. So I only use a strop, and so far it stays really sharp. I won't tell you how many times I've cut myself with it. And then I also use these snips. These are made by ARS. They're the only United States distributor is in Knoxville, I think. And I think they discontinued these, which is unfortunate because they're my favorite. But anyway, okay. So I'm gonna start with some curly willow, and I want the curly willow to be kind of high. But I also like for it to be a stabilizing factor in the arrangement. So I often kind of wad the ends of the stems up rather than cutting them off, so that it creates some grid work. Sometimes you get an arrangement that has that green oasis foam in it, and sometimes back in the once upon a time you would have gotten ones that had chicken wire in them. Sometimes there's clear plastic tape across the top. We've done a couple of discussions about the clear tape. That may not have been on video. That may have just been at the design classes or the design shows at the county fair. But anyway, this is just creating a grid to hold the flowers in the vase. Let's see. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna use the stuff that I'm wiggling around so you can't see it. This is called Leaf Shine. It helps to preserve the leaves, to keep them from losing moisture, but it also makes them shiny and pretty. We use this on plants and foliage before we send it out, just because it makes things pretty and it's a little bit protectant so that you don't have as many pesty problems too. That's more for the plants than the flowers. If you have pesty problems with your flowers, that's not my fault. And if your cat eats the flowers, definitely not my fault. Okay, so I started high with the first one. I like to kind of define my parameters for where the arrangement is going to go with my first couple of flowers. Okay, so we've got kind of a triangle going here, and I'm going to fill in between them. These roses, I know that the classic that everybody expects is roses with baby's breath, but I just think garden roses are too fancy to have baby's breath with them. And really, they're so pretty by themselves. We're just gonna go with this nice foliage and not worry about any filler flowers. Okay, so with garden roses, they have guard petals around the outside edges. These are also called shipping petals or packing petals. Sometimes they are discolored. This is actually true for all roses. Sometimes they're discolored or they have a different color on them. Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're a little brown. That's not proof of the flower being dead. That is just a part of nature. And with garden roses, they begin to open out more fully as you remove those guard petals. So for the most part, I don't like to take them off unless they're really damaged. Like That one's torn down the side. I just think it makes your flowers last longer if we don't pull them apart. And I think that nature is beautiful as it is without too much interference from us. You'll also see that I am not taking the whole thorn off. I don't know if you can see that or not actually, but we try not to remove the entire thorn because it opens the stem up to air pockets and also to bacteria. And those are two things that will kill your flowers faster. So just like air bubbles in your bloodstream are bad for you, air bubbles in the rose stem are bad for the rose. So, one of the cool things about the folks who ordered this arrangement, they also signed up for our subscription service. So, every month on the 25th, this fantastic young lady is going to get a new bouquet. She doesn't have to call and reorder it, or her husband doesn't have to call and reorder it. It's just going to show up on her doorstep. And that is a service that we offer. You can have arrangements delivered monthly. We have a couple of folks who take advantage of that service. We also have bouquets that are just a hand-tied wrapped bouquet wrapped up in brown paper, just like if you picked it up in the shops in Europe. And those can be delivered weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, however you prefer. And you might have seen me post a couple days ago. I can't keep up with time. I don't know about you guys. But this whole pandemic thing where time isn't really working the way we're used to it working, because we're not getting up and going to work and hanging out with all of our normal people. I don't know what's going on anymore. But I heard a rumor that the grocery stores were going to stop carrying flowers because they wanted to devote all of the space on their trucks to food. So if you're accustomed to picking up a bouquet of flowers from the grocery store every week when you do your shopping, we can help you with that. We are also offering contact-free deliveries. So things just appear on your front porch with a phone call or a text message from yours truly saying, hey, go check your porch. We left something there, but we didn't want to share the germs. So, we always try to save whatever little pieces are available for saving, because sometimes we are doing baskets or flower crowns or tiny work that can use the tiny little pieces. And my grandma taught me not to be wasteful. She absolutely had a cardboard box in the pantry that was labeled pieces of string too small to save. We won't tell you what we did with that once she wasn't looking. case you didn't see the lily grass before, this is what it looks like. It might have been too far out of frame. But sometimes it's done in curls and loops and whirligigs, but today I think it's just gonna sort of gracefully drape out of the vase without too much assistance from me. It would be good if I got it in the vase though. That's generally a good idea. I'm going to spray it one more time with leaf shine. And I think we might put a nice satin bow on here too. Not the crunchy satin, like the cheap stuff that sometimes we use for sympathy work, but some of the really good stuff like bridal ribbons. So just for fun, because I haven't used this one yet. Oh, I don't have stickers. Awesome. Hold on. Thankfully Annette has scissors because somebody else's station is stocked better than mine. Okay, so you know what? I think I want this to be the front. So there we have a dozen garden roses. Loves me just a little bit. Perfect for an anniversary gift and the beginning of a monthly delivery.